Meantime, we are continuing to see Iran retaliate as Operation Epic Fury continues. And to talk more on this, I did want to bring in former CIA analyst Eric Cole to talk about this. And Eric, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here.
So I wanted to talk about this. President Trump issuing a statement on Truth Social stating that Operation Epic Fury could last 5 weeks. Right now, we've seen missiles being traded between Israel and Iran, etc. But there is concern that Iran could use other measures in terms of retaliation, one being cyber attacks. Can you talk to us about the concern over that?
Yes, cyber is always a secondary weapon in traditional warfare. So as we suspected when the war started on Saturday, it was very heavy kinetic warfare. But what's going to happen over the next week or two is things are going to shift, because the reality is everyone in D.C. right now is rewriting the playbook. They expected that Iran was going to basically lay down their weapons, and I believe they thought this was going to be a 24 to 48-hour war. But unfortunately, Iran didn't respond the way that they wanted. So now we're in this unique situation, and the United States is extremely vulnerable because unlike other countries where they have clean ingress and egress points to the internet, because we basically created the backbone, we don't have that luxury, which means every listener and every citizen of the United States can basically be a direct target. And I think that's the type of attack you're going to see, is start going after individuals, starting to cause impact to citizens instead of going after critical infrastructure immediately.
So what should folks need to know, and what is the government doing to minimize the potential for such an attack?
The first thing, which depending on what you do and where you work, is recognizing that you are a target. I know a lot of people are like, oh, no one's going to worry about me. But with AI and in these types of warfares, they want to strike back at the citizens of America and cause pain, just like they believe we're doing to them. So we just have to recognize that we're a target. Most importantly, think about what your critical information is and make sure you're setting up. I know you hear it a lot, this two-factor, multi-factor authentication. It just really locks down your accounts. Also, be very careful of any messages you get from family or loved ones. They love going in and pretending, hey, something happened to me, mom or dad. It's one of your kids. Can you please wire me some money? Or going in and getting you to click on links. So just be super careful. Minimize the sites you go to. Minimize the emails you read. And if something looks suspicious, don't click on it or open it.
And how high of the concern is cyber attacks here in the United States and also within our allied countries? You did mention that there were some differences when it comes to the United States versus other countries right there. And you also mentioned specifically that Iran might target individuals versus infrastructure or maybe even larger companies. But how large of a concern is it? And then to that end, what is the government doing right now?
So the longer this war goes on, the bigger the concern. I believe right now you're seeing some cyber attacks, but we haven't seen a huge increase yet from Iran because they're still focusing on the kinetic and getting a handle on that. But I believe if this continues another 8 to 10 days, that's really when cyber is going to start targeting individuals. And then if it goes on for another 20 or 30 days, then I think you're going to start seeing critical infrastructure potentially also being targeted. And what's going on right now with the government is just trying to just raise awareness, is just making people understand that you just need to put better security in place as opposed to trying to be an alarmist. But the reality is it's a little too late because we just don't have a lot of the laws and other protection mechanism that other countries have. So a lot of it, unfortunately, is being pushed down on the individual as opposed to the government being able to really lock down and control access like they're doing in Iran or Israel.
I also wanted to step back and take a look at the larger picture from your perspective as a former CIA analyst. The CIA really an integral part of the preparation for the success of this operation and also as it continues to develop. Can you talk about how the CIA played a role in preparing for this operation and also how it's going to be involved in the next steps.
Intelligence and accurate data is always what's critical for these operations. As we see even now, you hear a lot of reports, and trying to go in and figure out truth from fiction is really what's so critical, because the models we have during active war now of predicting what to do next, what to do over the next 24, 48, 72 hours relies on very accurate intel. And unfortunately, now there's a lot of misinformation. So one of the key roles the CIA plays is really being sort of the broker of truth, of making sure there is good, accurate information that's at play. The other thing we have to remember too is this is really one of the first times we're really seeing three different wars play out. You have your traditional kinetic war, but also if you look at Trump's video on Saturday, there's definitely a psychops here, a psychological component where he's basically pleading with the people of Iran, please throw down your weapons or face repercussions. So there's definitely a psychological warfare going on, especially with Israel saying we are here to target and take out leaders. And then, of course, the cyber security component. So I believe what's really happening now is everyone's just trying to figure out how do we balance all three of those? Because I don't believe this is going as everyone thought. It escalated very, very quickly. And to me, it can't continue at this pace. So we have to figure out how do we balance some cyber, some psychops, and kinetic to sort of get this thing balanced and more controlled than where it is now.
Eric, before we let you go, from your perspective with the CIA and really being an expert on potential cyber attacks, is there anything else that you would like to share with our viewers?
The big thing is just to go in and be prepared that somebody might be trying to target you or your family. I wouldn't go in and over panic. I wouldn't start raiding the food stores or anything like that. We have really good infrastructure and backup. We're monitoring. The United States government is monitoring different attack vectors. I know a lot of the big cloud providers are putting in extra redundancy plans. So there's a lot being done to make sure that sort of the information and the infrastructure can survive any foreseen attacks from Iran.
All right, Eric Cole, former CIA analyst, we appreciate you joining us here on Live Now from Fox.